Hello guys. Welcome back to GH Spoilers channel. Today, we will learn about the issue that's about to shake the very foundation of Willow Tate's world, revealing deep betrayal and shattering illusions she once held close. After enduring a heartbreaking custody battle, Willow has finally reached a turning point in her life that is filled with devastating revelations, anger, betrayal, and ultimately, the end of a relationship she believed would be her new beginning. When the custody trial concluded, Willow's world was crushed as the judge ruled in Michael Corinthus's favor, awarding him full custody of Wiley and Amelia. The courtroom became eerily silent as the verdict was announced, and Willow felt her heart break into 1,000 pieces. She had fought so tirelessly to keep her children close, believing that she could provide a stable, loving home for them, despite the complicated circumstances she had found herself in. Yet, all of her efforts were in vain. Michael had triumphed, and Willow was left empty-handed, feeling the bitter sting of defeat. In the immediate aftermath of the trial, Willow struggled deeply to cope with the harsh reality. Her grief was overwhelming, her heart heavy with the unbearable pain of losing her children. Drew Ric, who had been by her side throughout the ordeal, tried desperately to comfort her. He assured her that this wasn't the end, that they could regroup, appeal the decision, and relaunch the custody case. Drew's words were filled with optimism, urging Willow to remain hopeful and resilient. Yet deep in her heart, Willow knew the truth. The damage had been done, and any further fight would likely be futile. She could sense that the judge's decision was final, that the bonds she'd trusted so deeply had betrayed her, and there was little she could do to reverse the damage. Despite the heartache, Willow attempted to pick up the pieces of her shattered life and move forward. She found herself at a crossroads, contemplating what a future without Wiley and Amelia might look like. Slowly, an idea emerged. Perhaps she could still build a family of her own, a fresh start. Maybe, she thought, she and Drew could have their own child, a new life that could help heal her broken heart. It seemed, for a brief moment, like a potential path toward redemption and happiness, one where the pain of losing custody could slowly fade away. But Willow's newfound hope didn't last long, as fate soon intervened in the cruelest of ways. One afternoon, while she was quietly reflecting and considering her future, Willow accidentally stumbled upon a conversation that would forever alter her perspective and ultimately shatter her dreams of starting anew with Drew. As Willow approached Ric Lansing's office, her attorney, the man she had trusted implicitly throughout the custody trial, she overheard muffled voices from inside. Curiosity getting the better of her, she hesitated by the door, listening carefully. Her heart sank deeply as she recognized the voices speaking, Ric Lansing and Drew Ric. The realization sent chills down her spine as she silently listened, hearing her life unravel sentence by sentence. To her horror, Willow learned the devastating truth behind her courtroom loss. Drew and Ric had deliberately conspired together from the very start to sabotage her custody case, carefully orchestrating every step to ensure her defeat. The cold-hearted scheme they discussed revealed Drew's true motivations. He simply didn't want Wiley and Amelia around. Drew found Willow's children a burden and saw them as obstacles standing in the way of their relationship and his ambitions. Ric, driven by Drew's promises of influence and power, agreed to betray his client, undermining Willow's case from the inside, ensuring that Michael Corinthus would be awarded full custody. Willow stood frozen in place, her mind reeling from the magnitude of the betrayal. The men she had trusted, the attorney she had placed her faith in, and the man she thought loved her unconditionally deliberately deceived her, sabotaging her chance at keeping Wiley and Amelia. A wave of nausea and fury washed over her as the enormity of their deceit fully sank in. Her heart, already fragile, was now utterly shattered. Unable to remain silent, Willow burst into Ric's office, eyes blazing with fury. She confronted Drew and Ric, her voice shaking with anger, pain, and a sense of utter betrayal. Her accusations were direct and damning, labeling both men as hypocrites who had deceived her for their selfish gain. Ric, stunned by her sudden appearance, initially tried to deny the allegations, but his attempt at deception crumbled quickly under the weight of Willow's righteous indignation. Drew, equally caught off guard, stumbled over explanations and half-hearted apologies, attempting to rationalize his actions, but Willow wasn't interested in excuses. She knew the truth and refused to be swayed by Drew's empty words. With clarity born of pain and anger, Willow finally saw Drew for who he truly was, a manipulative, self-centered man who had used her emotions against her, isolating her from her children and destroying her chance at happiness. She could no longer deny that loving Drew had been her greatest mistake. Willow declared firmly, in no uncertain terms, that their relationship was over. She had no interest in continuing her life by his side or attempting to mend the deep wounds he had caused. Her trust in him was broken irreparably, and her faith in Ric as an advocate for her had vanished entirely. Realizing there was nothing left for her in Port Charles, no family, no love, no trust, Willow made the painful yet necessary decision to leave town. She knew that staying would only prolong her pain, a constant reminder of what she had lost and the deception she had suffered at the hands of people she trusted most. A fresh start in a new city seemed the only viable solution to her heartbreak, and though the thought of leaving Wiley and Amelia behind was nearly unbearable, Willow understood that, at this point, there was no other option. As Willow prepared for her departure, Drew, haunted by guilt and regret, attempted once more to approach her, pleading desperately for forgiveness and a chance to explain himself. But Willow's resolve was absolute. She refused to engage in further conversations or hear his excuses. Willow's final words to Drew were sharp and clear, leaving no room for misunderstanding. She insisted that he had caused too much damage, and that no amount of apology or justification could erase the betrayal he'd inflicted upon her. Drew, though deeply saddened by the loss of Willow, finally understood the depth of the pain he had caused. He recognized, perhaps for the first time, that he was responsible for destroying something valuable and irreplaceably, a woman who had loved him unconditionally, trusted him completely, and had been willing to build a life with him. Now, alone and facing the consequences of his actions, Drew was left to grapple with the harsh reality of his choices and the loneliness he had brought upon himself. In the wake of Willow's departure, Port Charles was left with lingering questions, broken relationships, and painful truths. Michael and Carly, now custodians of Wiley and Amelia, worked tirelessly to provide stability and love for the children. Though Michael remained haunted by the tragic collapse of the family he had once envisioned, Drew faced isolation, guilt, and a deep sense of remorse, realizing that his ambitions and selfish desires had cost him dearly. As Willow stepped onto a bus bound for a new life in a distant city, her heart heavy yet hopeful, she reflected on everything that had transpired. The pain of losing Wiley and Amelia would always remain, but the clarity she had gained about trust, love, and loyalty offered a bittersweet sense of growth. Though uncertain of what her future might hold, she knew one thing for certain: she would never again allow herself to be manipulated or betrayed. Willow was determined to forge a new path, to reclaim her strength, and to learn to trust again, far away from the shadows and heartbreak she left behind in Port Charles. Next, we will dive deep into the electrifying drama surrounding Jocelyn Jacks and her unexpected entanglement with Emma Scorpio Drake during a critical undercover mission for the WSB. Buckle up, because this story is brimming with deception, rivalry, and high-stakes intrigue that could change everything for our favorite Port Charles residents. Let's start by setting the stage for this explosive encounter. Jocelyn Jacks, a name synonymous with grit and determination in Port Charles, thought she had her first mission as a WSB agent under control. Disguised as a diligent college student, she's been working tirelessly to infiltrate the inner circle of the enigmatic Professor Dalton, a man whose connections might lead to the notorious Jen Sidwell and a shadowy technological conspiracy. But just as she was navigating the murky waters of espionage, and walked Emma Scorpio Drake right into Professor Dalton's office at the most inopportune moment on June 17, 2025. The air crackled with tension as Jocelyn, in a split-second decision to preserve her cover, was pulled into a steamy kiss by her handler, Vaughn, posing as a janitor. The question lingering like a storm cloud is whether Emma, with her sharp instincts and storied lineage, will swallow their flimsy excuse of seeking privacy. This isn't just a minor hiccup, it's a potential disaster that could unravel Jocelyn's entire operation. With the added layer of their long-standing childhood rivalry, think back to their teenage clashes over heartthrobs like Spencer Casadini and Cameron Webber. This awkward moment carries the weight of personal grudges and professional jeopardy. Imagine the stakes: two fierce competitors, now adults, still vying for dominance, but this time with secrets that could destroy careers and lives. Zooming into their history, the friction between Jocelyn and Emma isn't new. It's a simmering pot that's been on the boil since Emma made her grand return to Port Charles in December 2024. Back in the day, their battles were the stuff of high school legend, petty squabbles over prom dates and social status. But now, the battlefield has shifted to the academic realm, where both are clawing for the coveted role of Professor Dalton's research assistant. Emma has already thrown barbs at Jocelyn, accusing her of sabotaging her chance at the position with underhanded tactics. This isn't just about a job, it's personal. Picture Emma, fueled by the legacy of her WSB icon father, Robert Scorpio, and her formidable grandmother, Anna Devane, feeling entitled to every opportunity. Then there's Jocelyn, who's had to fight tooth and nail for every bit of respect, now balancing her double life with the weight of proving herself to the WSB. Their clash in the professor's office wasn't just a coincidence, it was fate throwing a grenade into an already volatile situation. What if Emma's suspicions grow from this incident, pushing her to dig deeper into Jocelyn's sudden interest in Dalton? The layers of distrust here are as thick as a winter fog, obscuring everyone's true intentions. Now, let's peel back the curtain on Jocelyn's covert mission, which adds a thrilling twist to this soap opera saga. No longer just a college student hungry for academic glory, Jocelyn is a rookie WSB operative tasked with uncovering Professor Dalton's potential ties to Jen Sidwell, a criminal mastermind whose tech schemes could threaten global security. Her assignment is a labyrinth of danger-think encrypted files hidden in locked drawers and hushed conversations in dimly lit corridors. Meanwhile, unbeknownst to Jocelyn, Emma is weaving her own web of intrigue. Channeling the espionage flair of her family, she's embarked on a risky seduction plan to gain access to Dalton's restricted lab, hoping to unearth secrets of her own. The irony is delicious to women, both playing dangerous games, unaware that they're on a collision course that could expose them both. Imagine the stakes escalating as they tiptoe around each other, each gesture and word laced with hidden agendas. What if their competing ploys accidentally trigger a domino effect, drawing the attention of someone as dangerous as Sidwell himself? The quiet campus setting transforms into a chessboard, with Jocelyn and Emma as unwitting pawns in a much larger game. The pivotal moment of Emma catching Jocelyn and Vaughn in a compromising embrace deserves its own spotlight. On that fateful afternoon, Emma had marched into Dalton's office, expecting to charm the professor with her latest research proposal. Instead, she stumbled upon a scene straight out of a spy thriller. Jocelyn, her arch-nemesis, lip-locked with a supposed janitor. Vaughn, ever the quick thinker, improvised the kiss to shield Jocelyn's true identity, but the ruse hangs by a thread. Emma's reaction, a mix of shock and calculating curiosity, hints at the wheels turning in her mind. With her Scorpio Drake heritage, she's no stranger to deception and leverage. Will she accept their feeble explanation, or will her instincts scream that something's amiss? Picture Emma narrowing her eyes, her mind racing with possibilities. Could this be the ammo she needs to edge Jocelyn out of the competition? Or might she sense a deeper mystery, perhaps recalling whispered family stories of undercover ops gone awry? The power she now holds over Jocelyn is intoxicating, a trump card in a game where the stakes are higher than either of them can imagine. Delving into Emma's potential next moves, the possibilities are as varied as they are dramatic. Option 1. She plays the silent card, but not out of kindness. Emma could dangle this secret over Jocelyn like a sword, demanding she step aside from the research assistant race or face exposure. Imagine late-night confrontations in empty lecture halls, Emma's smug grin as she lays out her terms. Option 2. She escalates, confronting Professor Dalton with a twisted version of the truth, painting Jocelyn as unprofessional to secure her own position. But here's where it gets dicey. Option 3. Emma's too clever for mere blackmail. What if she starts piecing together the puzzle? Jocelyn's odd behavior, the janitor's too polished demeanor, the sudden uptick in campus oddities. Could she stumble upon the WSB connection? With heavyweights like Jason Morgan and Anna Devane already sniffing around Dalton's activities, Emma's meddling could be the spark that ignites a full-blown crisis. Envision her poring over old WSB files in her grandfather's study, connecting dots that even Jocelyn hasn't seen yet. Her family's legacy of espionage might just be Jocelyn's undoing, turning a personal rivalry into a catastrophic breach of security. Professor Dalton himself cannot be overlooked in this tangled web. Both Jocelyn and Emma are so fixated on outmaneuvering each other and winning his favor that they might be blind to the danger he poses. Beneath his scholarly veneer, Dalton could be a wolf in sheep's clothing, with ties to criminal elements far beyond their comprehension. Think of him as a puppeteer, subtly pulling strings while the girls dance to his tune. What if their antics, Jocelyn's covert snooping, Emma's flirtatious ploys, catch his attention in the wrong way, making him suspicious of their true motives? Add in the external pressure from Jason Morgan's investigation and the WSB's watchful eye, and this academic love triangle morphs into a deadly game of cat and mouse. Picture tense lab sessions where Dalton's piercing gaze seems to see right through their facades, or cryptic comments that hint at his awareness of being watched. The campus, once a place of learning, now reeks of peril, with every shadowy corner hiding a potential threat. Finally, let's ponder the fallout and future for Jocelyn. Her days of playing it safe are a distant memory. This young woman, who once took down the menacing Cyrus Renaud, now juggles her rookie WSB status with college drama and a rekindled rivalry. Bond's role as her handler grows ever more complex, their fake romance blurring lines between duty and genuine emotion. Will Emma's discovery force Jocelyn to abandon her mission, cutting her losses before everything implodes? Or could this be the unlikely catalyst that forces these former enemies to unite, realizing they're both in over their heads against a common foe in Dalton? Imagine late-night strategy sessions, grudging respect replacing old animosities as they pool their resources to survive. One thing is crystal clear: Jocelyn's world is a ticking time bomb. The explosion isn't a matter of if, but when and who will be left standing in the rubble when the dust settles. With every move scrutinized and every secret a potential landmine, Port Charles is bracing for a shockwave that could ripple through every corner of this tangled tale. Next, we will immerse ourselves in the gripping intersection of real-life drama and fictional storytelling as Willow, the talented actress portraying Natalia Ramirez on General Hospital, shares her terrifying experience with a stalker in a forthcoming documentary titled My Nightmare Stalker: The Willow Story. This powerful revelation has sent shockwaves through the Port Charles fanbase, sparking intense speculation about how her personal ordeal might influence Natalia's journey on the show. Join us as we explore the depths of this potential storyline, weaving in fresh details and imaginative twists that could transform Natalia's arc into a heart-pounding saga. Let's begin with the foundation of this compelling narrative. Willow, who breathed life into the character of Natalia Ramirez in 2024, has courageously opened up about a years-long nightmare of harassment by a stalker. An ordeal so severe that it culminated in the perpetrator's arrest in 2023 and a subsequent 14-month prison sentence. This chilling chapter of her life, detailed in her upcoming documentary set to air later this year, has left fans buzzing with curiosity. Could the writers of General Hospital draw inspiration from Willow's harrowing journey to craft a parallel storyline for Natalia? Since her introduction, Natalia has been navigating a complex web of relationships in Port Charles, particularly her fluctuating dynamic with the powerful Sonny Corinthos that has oscillated between tentative friendship and fleeting romance before fizzling out. Additionally, her role as the protective mother to Allison Blaze Rogers, an emerging music star, adds layers to her character. Imagine the tension if a shadowy figure from Natalia's past emerges, bringing with it a sinister obsession that threatens to shatter the fragile stability she's built. Picture late-night scenes at her quaint Port Charles apartment, where eerie phone calls disrupt the silence, or unsettling packages left at her doorstep hint at a danger she thought she'd left behind. Will this looming threat draw her closer to Sonny, seeking his protection, or will it expose vulnerabilities that could fracture her world? Diving deeper into Willow's real-life experience as chronicled in the documentary, we uncover a tale of relentless torment that began during her time on All My Children. The stalker bombarded her with invasive letters and incessant calls, a campaign of fear that escalated over the years until law enforcement finally intervened. This personal history serves as a haunting backdrop for what could become Natalia's most intense storyline yet. What if the writers weave a similar thread of suspense into her life, introducing a mysterious antagonist tied to her pre-Port Charles existence? Perhaps this individual is linked to Blaze's burgeoning music career, maybe a disgruntled former manager or an obsessive fan who fixates on Natalia as a means to control Blaze. Alternatively, the stalker could be connected to a bitter ex-partner from Natalia's past, someone harboring grudges over unresolved conflicts, now resurfacing with menacing intent. Envision a chilling catalyst for this plot. Natalia, while dining at the upscale metro court, discovers a cryptic note slipped under her plate. Its message scrawled in a disturbingly familiar handwriting. The note could read, "I've never stopped watching you," sending chills down her spine as memories of a buried past flood back. Will this storyline mirror Rue's journey of resilience, showcasing Natalia's strength in facing her fears, or will the heightened drama of Port Charles twist it into a darker, more perilous tale of survival? Turning our focus to Natalia's evolving relationship with Sonny Corinthos, the addition of a stalker could serve as a pivotal turning point. Their connection, already a tangled mix of camaraderie and unspoken tension, has been tested by Sonny's tumultuous business dealings and the constant chaos that surrounds him. If a stalker begins to target Natalia, Sonny's protective instinct buyers as a mob patriarch might kick into overdrive. Picture him deploying his resources, perhaps enlisting the steadfast Jason Morgan to shadow Natalia and unearth the identity of her tormentor. Late-night strategy sessions at Sonny's penthouse could reveal a softer, more vulnerable side to the usually stoic mobster as he vows to shield Natalia from harm. However, her fiercely independent nature, a trait that defines her character, might resist his overbearing methods, leading to fiery clashes. Imagine scenes where Natalia insists on handling the threat herself, perhaps secretly hiring a private investigator, only for Sonny to uncover her plan and confront her about the risks she's taking. Alternatively, this external danger could strain their already fragile bond, especially as Sonny grows weary of the mounting problems Natalia seems to attract. What if he questions whether their connection is worth the added complications, creating a rift just when she needs him most? The dynamic promises to be a roller coaster of emotions, testing the limits of trust and loyalty in the face of unseen danger. Adding another layer of intrigue, let's consider the broader Port Charles landscape and how other players might intersect with Natalia's potential crisis. With Ric Lansing lurking in the shadows, always eager to exploit any weakness in his half-brother Sonny's armor, could this stalker situation become a pawn in a larger game of power? Ric, known for his cunning and opportunism, might uncover whispers of Natalia's predicament and attempt to manipulate the situation to his advantage. Perhaps he covertly aids the stalker, feeding them information to destabilize Sonny's focus, all while maintaining plausible deniability. Visualize tense confrontations at the local coffee shop, where Ric drops subtle hints to Natalia about knowing more than she thinks, his sly smirk hinting at unspoken schemes. Meanwhile, the ripple effects could touch Blaze, whose rising fame in the music industry might inadvertently draw more attention to her mother's plight. Imagine paparazzi snapping photos of suspicious figures near Natalia's home, amplifying her fear while Blaze struggles with guilt over her career and directly endangering her mom. How will these external forces shape Natalia's response to the threat, and will they push her toward allies or isolate her in a web of paranoia? The fan response to Evil Rue's revelations has been nothing short of heartfelt, and it's worth exploring how their sentiments might influence the direction of Natalia's arc. Online forums and social media platforms are abuzz with admiration for Rue's bravery, with comments like, "Eva is an absolute warrior. General Hospital needs to give Natalia a storyline that honors her strength." Others advocate for a nuanced approach, cautioning against sensationalism with posts such as, "A stalker plot could be incredibly moving, but please don't turn it into over-the-top soap drama." Rue's documentary emphasizes themes of survivor empowerment, shining a light on the importance of reclaiming one's life after trauma. This resonates deeply with fans who hope to see Natalia triumph over any adversity thrown her way. Picture a climactic moment where Natalia, inspired by her own inner resolve, confronts her stalker in a public setting, perhaps during one of Blaze's concerts at the Port Charles Amphitheater, turning the tables by exposing their actions to a crowd of witnesses. Will the writers craft a narrative that reflects Rue's real-life resilience, showcasing Natalia as a beacon of courage? Or will the chaotic undercurrents of Port Charles drag her into a vortex of despair and danger? Expanding on the emotional core of this potential storyline, let's imagine how Natalia's past could come to life in vivid, haunting flashbacks. Perhaps as the stalker's threats intensify, we see glimpses of her younger years, maybe in a bustling city far from Port Charles where she first encountered this obsessive figure during a vulnerable time in her life. These scenes could depict her as a single mother struggling to make ends meet, catching the unwanted attention of someone who misinterprets her kindness as an invitation. The contrast between her past fragility and her current determination to protect Blaze and herself would add depth to her character, making her fight all the more poignant. Envision tearful confessions to a trusted confidant, maybe a longtime friend who knew her before Port Charles, where Natalia admits to living in fear for years, only now finding the courage to face it head-on. Such personal revelations could cement her as a fan favorite, her journey becoming a mirror to Lur's own path of healing and empowerment. Lastly, let's speculate on the long-term implications for Natalia's future in Port Charles. If a stalker storyline unfolds, it could redefine her relationships across the board. Her bond with Blaze might deepen as they navigate this shared threat, with mother and daughter leaning on each other in ways they hadn't before. Think heartfelt late-night talks in their cozy living room, strategizing how to stay safe while keeping Blaze's career on track. Conversely, the stress could unearth hidden resentments, with Blaze questioning if her mother's past is too heavy a burden to bear. With Sunny, the outcome hangs in a delicate balance. Will his protective streak solidify a lasting alliance, or will Natalia's need for autonomy push him away for good? And let's not forget the ever-looming presence of Port Charles' darker elements. Could this personal crisis draw the attention of other dangerous figures, pulling Natalia deeper into the town's underbelly? Imagine a scenario where the stalker's identity ties into a larger criminal network, inadvertently entangling Natalia in a plot far beyond her control. The possibilities are endless, but one thing is certain: Natalia's journey promises to be a captivating blend of personal triumph and soap opera suspense, reflecting the strength of the woman who portrays her. Thank you for tuning into this detailed exploration of Natalia Ramirez's potential new chapter on General Hospital. Stay with us for more spoilers and insights as we await the unfolding of this gripping story, inspired by Lur's incredible resilience. Keep watching Port Charles fans, there's much more drama on the horizon.